play, boys. First inning, let's be ready. Everybody be ready for the first inning. They say we're going to take the lead right here. Take the lead. First inning. We'll win the game in the first inning, Such. Get over his head. Head away. Head away, Puck. Come on, Puck. You got to go. Get it, Barnes. First inning. We're going to win the game in the first inning, boys. We're going to win this game in the first inning. That's 2 change-ups, Wade. He threw him a change, first pitch. Unbelievable. Sandy. He's got to get his bat in the helmet. Kevin Brown's not used to hitting. He don't have nothing to, you know, we didn't think that would happen. That's all right. You go up there and get your hit. Can you hit it all? Huh? Well, I would think, no, I would swing it the first one, because he's going to lay it in there, okay? He'll lay the first one in there. That's your best bet. If he gets a hit, I'm going to sit down. We weren't planning on this, boys.
From the Texas Rangers.
This is not in the script.
The pitcher, Kevin Brown.
I do not have the pitcher hitting anywhere on the paper here. No way. Uh-oh. We got to be ready for defense now. Everybody ready for defense, first inning. I don't like our chances here. All right, defense now. Let's go. Defense. This stuff's right on time for Ruben. Tell him. Should be right on time here. He might hit one 9 miles from. What'd I tell you? Right on time. He kills that stuff. He kills that stuff. Yeah, right in between. In between, he murders.
Fun in games for Tom Kelly. That was an exhibition, and now we're back to real business. And Tim McCarver, I know that people have a lot of respect for Tom Kelly as a manager. Why is that in your view?
Well, you know, you heard that in between with Ruben Sierra, that he kills in between pitching. There is no in between with Tom Kelly. He's a man of convictions. He makes decisions and doesn't look back. He doesn't care what the media think, or the electronic media for that matter.
A lesson to be learned. And CBS Sports coverage of Major League Baseball will return after this message and a word from your local station.
$100 million to run.
Dick Stockton along with Tim McCarver, and a great pitching matchup as we mentioned at the outset. We have Roger Clemens and we have Scott Erickson. Erickson had his problems early in the year. He has settled down, and Roger Clemens right now is going through his rough stuff.
As a matter of fact, the last win for Roger Clemens back on June 6th, he has gone 6 appearances without winning a game, even though he has left 3 of those games with a win. Scott Erickson, on the other hand, has been described as a left-handed pitcher within a right-handed pitcher's body. That's how much his ball moves. A good sinking fastball, a good slider, and a good changeup, and he's trying to get back to the form that he had for the first half of last year when he was 12-3.
And that's why right-handers hit him better than left-handers, just as you said. Erickson and Clemens, starting lineups coming up in just a moment.
CBS Sports presents Major League Baseball. Today's game is brought to you by Chevrolet, the cars and trucks more people depend on. Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. And by Kellogg's, proud sponsor of our 1992 U.S. Olympic team.
And the horned off batter for the Red Sox is ball 1. There's his fastball for a strike, 1-1. Erickson, 6-6 on the year. Twice has lost his spot in the rotation and nearly was sent down to the minor leagues. That's how much the Twins were puzzled by Scott Erickson's early season when he lost his first 3 decisions. 2 balls and 1 strike, and Hatcher slaps it to the right side, and it's a fair ball off the glove of Herbeck. Hatcher is on his first. He's going to try to go to second. Here's Herbeck's throw, and it's not in time, and Billy Hatcher winds up on second base to start it off for the Red Sox. Normally, the slick fielding first baseman Kent Herbeck is good as you'll find, and had his problems at first.
That's how odd the Red Sox year has been. They open the season with an infield double. Billy Hatcher adding speed to the Red Sox lineup. That is something the Red Sox have lacked. An excellent base running play by Billy going to second base.
Hatcher was acquired July 9th from Cincinnati in a deal that sent left-hander Tom Bolton to the Reds. Phil Plantier taking ball one. Plantier, the designated hitter for the Red Sox today. Those are his numbers. Red Sox are looking for a lot more power than he's delivered thus far, but he's a man of the future for this club. And he hits one deep but well out of play, and the count is 1-1.
They grew to expect that power last year when Plantier came up 2 months with 13 home runs, a .330 average. And this year, he has been up since the season began and only 3 home runs. He's got some pop, however.
They play him to pull along the infield. Pitch misses outside and straight away in the outfield. Red Sox have lost 2 in a row and 5 of their last 8 games. Their problem, Butch Hobson says, we just can't mount a winning streak. Their biggest winning streak was 4. Bounding ball to the right side. Hatcher will advance. Herbeck flips to Erickson for the out. 1 away, and Hatcher is at third. Taking a look at the Red Sox batting order after Hatcher and Plantier, Wade Boggs, Tom Brunansky, the ex-twin, batting cleanup. Bob Zupsick, the left fielder. Jody Reed is at second. Mo Vaughn, the first baseman. Tim Naring at short. And Tony Pena, the catcher. Teams played an exciting 3-2 affair in 10 innings last night. A lot of moves made by both managers. Here's Wade Boggs, well below his career average, has never hit below 300 in the big leagues. Takes a changeup for a strike.
I think this is an idea of the respect that Tom Kelly has for Roger Clemens. He realizes the Twins are not going to score a lot of runs. Playing the infield in against a hitter like Boggs in the first inning, that's respect.
Off his fists and a looper down the left field line, and that's going to drop for a base hit. So Hatcher will score, and the ball gets away from Mack. Boggs will go into second, and that will be a single and an error, I'm sure, charged to Shane Mack in left field. And the Red Sox lead 1-0 for Boggs' 29th run batted in of the year.
And an uncharacteristic start for the Minnesota Twins. Boggs jammed on the fastball. Shane Mack actually in too far, the ball off the webbing, and Boggs is on at second base. Herbeck usually comes up with that ball, and so does Shane Mack.
So the Twins a little bit in a lethargic stance as we start this game, and Tom Brunansky takes strike 1. Bruno, of course, making yet another trip back to where he played for so many years with the Minnesota Twins. He has hit with a lot more power lately, has 7 home runs on the year. That pitch is inside, and it's 1-1. Brunansky with a 3-run homer Thursday night in the first game after the All-Star break. Boggs on at second base. 1 out. 1-0 Boston. And it's 1-2.
Tom Kelly lamenting the fact that his team couldn't hit today. There was camera day here at the Metrodome, and the Twins did not work out early. And Tom Kelly doesn't like that at all. Boston, however, did hit. So they appear to be more prepared than the Twins, and that's one thing that Tom Kelly doesn't like. Had they hit today, they would have had to come out at 8:30 this morning for the early starting time.
That's just before we came out.
That's right.
We were ready to hit today. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count to Brunansky. He's been used as a DH and playing right field this afternoon. Knows the dome pretty well, so he can handle the outfield. Fastball in tight, and the count is full now to Brunansky. Red Sox have really struggled away from Fenway Park. They have dropped 12 of their last 13 games on the road. Trying to turn it around against Scott Erickson today. Boggs has a good lead. The 3-2 pitch, and Brunansky strikes out on a slider, and that's out number 2 here in the first.
The defense for the Twins, Shane Mack in left field, Kirby Puckett with 5 gold gloves in center, Gene Larkin in right field this afternoon, Jeff Rabelais is at third base, Greg Gagne at short, Chuck Knobloch, last year's Rookie of the Year, at second, Ken Herbeck at first, and Lenny Webster behind the plate.
Always nice to see a man of French descent, Rabelais, in the lineup. In any sport.
Yes.
And the youngster is giving Scott Leyes a breather as Bob Zupsik comes to the plate with 2 down. Boggs is at second base. And ball 1 to Zupsik. He has been one of the few pleasant surprises for the Red Sox hitters. .342 batting average. He's a big fella, about 6'4", 220 pounds. Ground ball to the shortstop. Greg Gagne retires the side, but the Red Sox get a run and lead 1. And an error as well. And a rookie Jeff Rabelais batting second. Kirby Puckett will be hitting third, and Kent Herbeck in the cleanup position. Shane Mack batting fifth. Randy Bush, the designated hitter today. Gene Larkin, the switch hitter, is in right field. Lenny Webster behind the plate, catching his man Scott Erickson, and Greg Gagne at shortstop batting ninth.
Roger Clemens has had very good success against the Minnesota Twins early in his career. He won his first 8 games against Minnesota. However, his last 8 decisions, he's 4-4. So the Rocket will try to launch into his 10th win of the season after trying unsuccessfully 6 times. The defense for the Boston Red Sox: Zupsik in left field, Billy Hatcher the center fielder, Tom Bernansky in right, Wade Boggs at third base, Tim Naring at shortstop, Jody Reed the second baseman, Mo Vaughn at first base, and Tony Pena, who has also won Gold Gloves. He has 4 to his credit, and Roger Clemens on the mound.
So the Rocket looking to break a 6-game winless streak, in which matches, as you mentioned, his longest of his career, and he suffered an inflamed tendon on the ball of his right foot and had a special cleat with a pad put in, and that had to have an effect on his strong leg kick, which is a big part of what Clemens does.
That is that right foot, of course, is the foot off of which he pushes, and Roger Clemens, like a lot of power pitchers, have to have body strength on the bottom. They really work from the legs up and not from the arm down. Strong leg movement, and all the great ones have it. Nolan Ryan, Tom Seaver, Bob Gibson, Steve Carlton, all strong leg movement.
Chuck Knobloch, last year's Rookie of the Year, 7th in the American League in hitting, takes a fastball up high. Knobloch is hitting .309. And since the Baltimore series, right before the All-Star break, Tom Kelly installed Knobloch into the leadoff position to just change things around. The Twins leading the American League in hitting, and the major leagues for that matter, but he wanted a little more zip, and he decided to put Chuck in there. 1-1 the count to Knobloch. At the knees for a strike. 1-2. Clemens has not had a complete game in his last 10 starts. So for a guy who has won 3 Cy Young Awards, he's looking to make a turnaround, and no better time than post All-Star game.
Back-to-back Cy Young Awards in '86 and '87, and the Cy Young Award winner last year.
Knobloch laves off the high heater, and that evens the count at 2-2. On deck is Rabelais and then Kirby Puckett. Twins have beaten the Red Sox 5 out of 6 this year, and all 4 games played here at the Dome. And the count is full now, 3-2. Knobloch with good pitch selection at the plate so far.
No sophomore jinx there.
He's jinxing pitchers who face him. Fouls off a fastball up in his eyes, but the count remains at 3-2.
Matter of fact, the Twins have 3 second-year players: Chuck Knobloch, Pedro Munoz, and Scott Leyes, all batting over 280. In some regards, better years than they had last year.
And I think that's a testimony to the relaxed atmosphere that Tom Kelly has imbued on this ball club. No pressure. Take the pressure away. Standing deep in the batter's box. Again, the 3-2 pitch and fighting it off right on that fastball by Clemens that time for Knobloch. Came on the scene last year. You covered the World Series, and when a rookie comes in and makes the impression he did and played as hard as he did, you know he's going to be around for a while, Tim.
And one of the best plays that he may have made in Game 7 of the World Series was a non-play. The decoy of Lonnie Smith at second base that he and Gagne pulled off.
Hangs in there as Clemens throwing nothing but heat to Knobloch here, the leadoff batter for the Twins in the bottom of the first. Red Sox in front, 1-0. Over those last 6 starts where Clemens is 0-3, look at that earned run average, 4.07, and that from a man who right now is 3rd in the American League in ERA at 2.31.
Juan Guzman is number 1, and number 2, Mike Messina, with a 1-hitter last night.
There's a ball hit in the air to right field, but Bernansky is right there, and he makes the catch for the first out. So Knobloch hung in there with Clemens, and he's retired, 1 out. Here are the umpires working this afternoon's game. 3 out of 4 veterans. Vic Voltaggio calling balls and strikes. Larry McCoy at first. Gary Cedarstrom at second. And Ken Kaiser is at third. So here's Jeff Rabelais. Rabelais' been up 48 times. Takes ball 1 inside. Rabelais just called up yesterday from the Twins AAA Farm Club in Portland after Donnie Hill was put on waivers. There's a strike.
Donnie Hill had the option of being sent down or declaring free agency. He opted for the latter. Rabelais, a good glove man, and up because Scott Leyes, the regular third baseman, had started 41 games in a row, and that is a wicked slider from Clemens, who is throwing the ball awfully hard this afternoon.
You mentioned Leyes. Of course, Mike Pagliarulo ready to come back. He's been on the disabled list, and Leyes has filled in admirably, but you know, even for a guy like Scott, it gets to be too much, and his production was starting to slip. And it's interesting that when you call up a youngster, you want the glove more than you want the bat, don't you?
Right.
That's what Rabelais will give him. 2 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out. And the count remains 2-2. Rabelais saw action in last night's 3-2 Minnesota victory in 10 innings. Minnesota won on Thursday night also by 1 run, 7-6. Kirby Puckett is on deck for the Minnesota Twins. There he is. And a chopper to shortstop. Naring is going to have to gun it over to first, and he does. And Move On made a terrific play at first base, digging that one out. Great play on both ends for Naring and Vaughn, and Rabelais is out by an eyelash.
Well, the AstroTurf changes things dramatically. Of course, Boston not used to playing on it, but you would think Naring is. Watch the 1-hop to Move On. Fine play by Vaughn, and the proper play by Naring. Had he tried to throw it in the air all the way, they do not get Rabelais. Fine play on both ends.
And with 2 out, here is the man. He is the man.
Got that right.
I know they yell it at every golf tournament, at every tee, but he is the man. Kirby Puckett leading the league in hitting, hits, total bases. Tied for 3rd in runs batted in. All 1 up high.
Talking to Bob Montgomery, the Boston Red Sox announcer, and he was saying when Clemens was really throwing some gas several years ago, Kirby Puckett was the only guy who could get on top of his high fastball.
Slider is over for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Puckett, like a lot of Twin hitters, use all parts of the field in which to hit. They are not strictly pull hitters, with the exception of Ken Herbeck.
And he's got hit. He was hit by the pitch. He was hit in the hand, and I think then it hit the bat, but it hit the hand first, and Puckett will trot down to first. And he is the first base runner for the Twins.
Fortunately, just grazing Kirby as it hits the bottom of his right hand. It does not appear to be serious.
And Ken Herbeck, who last night had, of all things, a stolen base. Actually, it was a hit and run. that the Red Sox kind of fouled up. Herbeck wound up on third and scored the winning run in the 10th inning, but he is having a grand year. Swings at the first pitch and lifts it to left center field. Zupsik calls, and now Hatcher calls him off for out number 3. So the Twins leave 1, and after an inning, it's the Red Sox 1 and the Twins nothing.
You're watching CBS Sports coverage of Major League Baseball.
Red Sox with a 1-0 lead, trying to snap a 2-game losing streak in this series, and rookie manager Butch Hobson in the Red Sox dugout.
It has been a very trying year for Butch Hobson. A losing record in the first half of the season. No Red Sox manager has posted a losing record in the first half since Billy Herman did it back in 1965. Red Sox finished 62-100 that year. So Butch hoping for better things in the second half.
Not easy to be a rookie manager, or for that manager, any manager with the Boston Red Sox, with all of the pressures that you have up in Boston. And he has been a disciplinarian in the minor leagues, and now he's in the big leagues, and things are a little different sometimes. Jody Reed takes ball 1 inside.
Plus, he didn't have his soldiers either. I mean, you've got Ellis Burks on the shelf. Mike Greenwell is hurt. Carlos Quintana in that accident last winter. Boggs is down. Clark's numbers are down. Got too many people who are going down at once. Jeff Gray, an artery problem last year in the brain. Quintana, John Marzano on a rehab program at Pawtucket. Ellis Burks, Matt Young, a groin pull, and Mike Greenwell out for the year. Of course, every organization and team overcomes injury problems.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Reed after Erickson got the breaking ball over. Reed will be followed by Mo Vaughn and Tim Naring. Breaking ball misses, and the count is 2-2. But if you had told the Red Sox faithful that you're not going to have Quintana all year, you won't have Greenwell for practically all year, and Burks is going to be hurt, you'd say they'd have no chance to win. And really, that's the story. They can't win without those people.
That's right.
3-2 now. The count to Jody Reed. He leads the Red Sox in hits. Started off hot with the bat and slipped some. Been in the number 2 position in the batting order most of the year, just lately in the number 6 slot. Lays off the fastball just outside, and Reed draws a walk. That's the first walk issued by Erickson, and the Sox have a man on. But you talk about who could fill in when the likes of a Burks and a Greenwell go down, and a Quintana, and they expect more from Mo Vaughn than he's delivered. He was sent down to the minors during the season, now back up with the big club, hitting under 200. Vaughn with a big cut. By now, most baseball fans know that the Red Sox are not a running team. They have 29 stolen bases all year. Their leading base stealer, Burks, who's out, has 5. Gives you an idea how they don't run.
I think people confuse those terms too. A lot of people think that if your team doesn't have any speed, it can't be a good base running team. Well, there's a big difference between base stealing and base running. I think Don Zimmer, the third base coach, and Butch Hobson have preached that to the Red Sox. Don't be a 1 base at a time ball club. And they have done a good job going from first to third. And that, we're talking to Zim before the game, saying that Zimmer's saying that more games are won and lost on the bases than in any other facet of the game. And I agree with it.
2-1 the count to Mo Vaughn. Tim Naring is on deck. Zimmer said the one place I can't help a runner is when he is on first and has to make the decision whether to go to third or not. He has to make the judge where the ball is hit, the arm of the outfielder, and so forth. So a coach can do only so much. 3 balls and a strike as Erickson falls behind Mo Vaughn. There's Al Bumbry, who's the first base coach for Boston. 1-0 the Red Sox lead. Wade Boggs with an opposite field single, knocking in the Boston run last inning. In the air to center field. Kirby Puckett going back, calls off Mack and makes the catch. Reed will have to trot back to first. 1 away for the Red Sox in the second inning. hitter, Tim Naring. Luis Rivera getting a rest today.
Talk about the Red Sox trying to trade Luis Rivera. John Valentin, the fine shortstop, good defensive shortstop in Pawtucket now, and he should be the Red Sox shortstop of the future.
Red Sox not without some prospects. When you look at Plantier and Vaughn, Scott Cooper, you mentioned Valentin, they're there. They've got to play and they've got to hit. And maybe the time is going to come, if the Red Sox continue to flounder, that they're going to have to call on the youngsters and at least give them a chance to play in the latter part of the season for next year.
I think the time has come, Dick, for a hit and run. A ball and no strikes, and Erickson a lot of ground balls. He's third in the American League in double play grounders with 17. Look for Reed to run here.
Pitch is up high. 2 balls and no strikes to Tim Naring. Lenny Webster out to the mound to talk to Erickson. Last year got off to a brilliant start. At one time won 12 consecutive decisions, a club record en route to a 20-8 record. He had a strained right elbow last June that kind of sent him into a tailspin, but he came back. 2-0. Runner doesn't go, and there's a strike to Naring. 2-1. Checking with third base coach Zimmer. There's Reed, held on by Herbeck. He walked to start the second inning. There's a strike. Naring indicating he might swing. It's 2-2 now to the Red Sox shortstop. Tony Pena, the Sox catcher, who's had his problems at the plate, is on deck. To left field. Shane Mack coming over. He'll be there to make the play for the second out. Reed gets back to first base, and that'll bring up Pena. So the Red Sox, who have a 1-run lead, they're next to last in hitting in the American League, also in runs scored. You know what they're saying, that since they built that 600 club, when they added on to the top of Fenway Park, that the wind has stopped blowing out to center field at Fenway.
Well, that would account for the lack of home runs on the offense and the earned run average on the pitching staff. Or partially account for that.
Or it could be an excuse. No.
It could be. Well, the Red Sox have just been terrible on the road this year. They're 13-29. They have the worst road record in baseball. Imagine that. It's after the All-Star game, and they have won only 13 games on the road.
It's hard to fathom. Pena takes a strike. 1-1. There are the numbers that you're exactly talking about, Tim. And you know, I could see if Boston had the kind of hitting team they had in 77, 78, when they, you know, when Hobson hit ninth and drove over 100 runs, and they were Fenway hitters. But that's not the kind of team they have now. There's a line drive to center field, and Puckett right there to make the play. The Red Sox get a leadoff man on, and he's stranded at first. And an inning and a half has gone by. 1-0 Boston. Along with Tim McCarver, this is Dick Stockton here in Minneapolis, where the Boston Red Sox lead the Minnesota Twins 1-0. Twins coming up in the second inning. It'll be Shane Mack, Randy Bush, and Gene Larkin against Roger Clemens. Mack just about on line with his season of a year ago. He ended up hitting .310, but his homers and RBIs are just about there. Second on the Twins with 18 doubles. One thing about Minnesota, you talk about their balance. They put the ball in play. They are the perfect ball in play team, hitting the left and right center field. They're a very difficult team to defense also because of that. The best way to play most of these Twins hitters is straight away. If you start overshifting on them, they'll beat that overshift. Most of their hitters spray the ball around. Pitch is inside. 1 ball and 1 strike to Mack. And that's why they're tough to beat, whether they're playing here in Minneapolis or on the road. Goes after a high pitch, tried to pull it and chopped it to Naring, and he's going to beat that one out. The old Camden Yards chop. And Shane Mack is on with an infield hit, and that's the first hit of the game for the Twins.
New Camden Yards, right? Yeah. Baltimore Orioles at Camden Yards chop right here. No play by Naring. Shane could have walked to first base. First hit against Clemens.
But he would have been fined if he had walked to first base. He'll be in the new park next week in Camden Yards, you and Sean, for the Texas Rangers and the Baltimore Orioles.
And you'll be in at Fenway for an instant replay of this game, right?
Home and home. Here's Randy Bush, the designated hitter, takes ball 1. Bush has not played that much this year. Started off the season 0 for 16 as a pinch hitter. Been up less than 100 times. Lead by Mack, who has 15 stolen bases. Clemens and the Red Sox aware of that. And you wouldn't be surprised if Tom Kelly tries to generate something here.
A lot of things you could do here. Mack with 15 stolen bases. Bush, a contact batter. I think Tom would allow Randy to get the count in his favor before sending Mack, like now.
2-0 is the count to Bush.
Of course, Roger Clemens is not a contact pitcher. If you put the ball in play, you're more apt to put the ball in play in the air, and that's not the type of pitcher you want to hit and run against.
Runner doesn't go, and the pitch is up and away. Clemens falls behind 3-0. Gene Larkin, playing right field today, is on deck for the Twins. Roger steps off. Clemens so far this year has walked 37 batters and has struck out 120, tied for second in the league. And there's a strike as Bush was taking all the way. There's a panoramic view of the Metrodome. Twins, nearly 400,000 fans ahead of their attendance of a year ago. And it's been a big year here in the Twin Cities. U.S. Open Golf Tournament, of course. Our crew has been here many times. CBS crew with the Final Four. And the Super Bowl was here. And we were here for the LCS and the World Series as well. Great spot to be in midsummer, the upper Midwest. Mack has had a dive back about 5 times now. Ground ball, gloved nicely by Vaughn, and he makes a wild throw, but making a great play was Naring to keep his foot on the bag. That very nearly turned into a second and third situation, or at least first and third. But saving the day was Tim Naring for the force on Mack, and Bush is the base runner.
Fine stop by Mo Vaughn, but a bad throw to the third base side. Watch him recover, and then he throws a sinker, and Naring with a terrific play to get the force. Well, that is a fine play by Tim Naring.
Because anytime you have to go across your body like that and try to keep your foot on the bag, I mean, they were looking at a possible double play, but they'll take the one out.
That was a great play, Dick, to show an example of why first base is a left-handed thrower's position. That's a routine play and a routine double play for a left-handed thrower, but a tough play for a guy like Mo Vaughn.
So Gene Larkin, the right fielder, the switch hitter, swings and fouls off the first pitch for a strike.
See, now think about if Mo Vaughn were a left-handed thrower. He'd have the glove on the right hand, and the throw would be an easy 3-6-3 double play. But as it was, he had to make a diving stop and then made a bad throw to Naring covering.
He saved a hit, and then Naring saved an error. Count is 0-1. Larkin fouls it off. So Clemens jumps ahead of Gene Larkin, 2 strikes. Well, now that Frank Seminara has made his mark with the San Diego Padres in the National League, no one will always say to Gene Larkin, you were the man who started Columbia and broke all of Lou Gehrig's records.
Yeah.
There's another Columbia Lion in the big leagues out in the National League West. 1 out. The runner at first base is Randy Bush. We're in the 2nd inning. Breaks inside, 1-2. Minnesota Twins getting ready to play a big series with the Oakland A's coming up. Fastball misses 2-2, and right now, as we mentioned at the outset, Minnesota's lead is 3 games, the biggest advantage Minnesota has had all year. Breaking ball is fouled at the plate. You've seen Clemens throw a lot more fastballs, at least he did in the 1st inning, than he has lately when he was going more to the split finger and slider.
He has been overpowering so far this afternoon. You can always tell by the pop in the catcher's mitt. That's a sweet sound for a pitcher. That little mitt that Tony Pena uses.
See if we can pick it up with the count 2-2 and 1 out. Bring him up. Larkin is down on strikes. That's the first strikeout of the ball game for Clemens. 2 down.
They talk about Clemens having extra pop. Well, so does Tony Pena. Pop, pop on the outside corner. Pitchers refer to this as a backdoor breaking ball. It's really a side door breaking ball. Side of the house.
Whatever door is open.
That's right.
Lenny Webster, catcher today for the Twins, has been up 69 times, has driven in 5 runs. There's a good fastball by Clemens. He's going right at the Minnesota hitters for the most part and jumps ahead of Webster 0-1. Red Sox with a 1-0 lead. They scored in the 1st inning. They have a runner at first base with 2 outs here in the 2nd. Or the Twins do.
So Lenny Webster starting for the last 12 starts of Scott Erickson. Erickson is 10-3 with Lenny Webster as his catcher.
You want to keep Lenny Webster behind the plate when you have those numbers.
Junior Ortiz was his catcher last year when Erickson won 20. Can you imagine that, a pitcher with a special catcher?
I never heard of it before.
No,
have you?
No, I haven't.
Oh, yes. I do remember now. 2 balls and 1 strike. What is it like for the catcher? Everyone talks about a pitcher now has his guy behind the plate. What about you with the guy on the mound?
Well, it depends on your age. In my situation with Steve Carlton, the last 4 years of my career, I mean, he put 2 or 3 years on my career. So I said, if I'm going to catch you every time out, you better get a good move to first. And he did.
3 balls and a strike now to Lenny Webster. It's interesting how you happen to pick one of the great pitchers of all time to catch.
Yeah, that was the right guy.
Pena out to the mound to talk to Clemens, who's fallen behind several of the batters here.
Thing with Roger Clemens, if you're a hitter, you try to make him get the ball down. Scott Erickson, if you're hitting against him, you try to make him get the ball up. Erickson's ball goes down, Clemens's ball goes up.
The last pitch was 87 miles an hour. Lenny Webster, who's just 5'9". And the count, 3 balls and a strike. And the slider in for strike 2, 3-2. So with 2 out and the count full, Bo Vaughn will now play behind the runner, Randy Bush, who will be off on the pitch. There goes Bush, the 3-2 pitch. Off the fist, and a pop-up could be a play for Wade Boggs, and that'll do it. There was no runs, a hit and 1 left, and we have completed 2 innings here in Minneapolis. Roger Clemens and the Red Sox in front, 1-0. Third inning here in Minneapolis, and the top of the order for the Red Sox to face right-hander Scott Erickson. Billy Hatcher, followed by Phil Plantier and Wade Boggs. Hatcher scored the Red Sox run in the first inning as he hit a double off the glove of Kent Herbeck. Just in fair territory, bounded into foul territory, and then Hatcher wound up in second and scored on Boggs' single. Pitch is a breaking ball for a strike. Hatcher, one of the few acquisitions for the Red Sox who have legitimate speed.
192 stolen bases for his career. Only 2 Red Sox have ever done that. Harry Hooper had 300 lifetime steals, and Tris Speaker had 266. So Hatcher's been with the team in 2 weeks and already has 192 stolen bases.
Wonders how he can move up that list of Red Sox stolen base kings.
That's fast. Obviously, he did that with other teams, folks.
Goes after a bad pitch and is strikeout victim. Second strikeout for Erickson. 1 away. Well, if you're down by 10 or 11 games, the season's not over after the All-Star break. The 1964 Cardinals. That was a great pennant race with the Cardinals winning. They were well down in August, and the '78 Yankees. Of course, you played for the Cardinals in '64.
And you broadcast for the Red Sox in 1978.
But they didn't win.
That's right.
But the Cardinals did. Line shot up the middle by Phil Plantier. And the third base hit of the game for the Red Sox.
Sinker low and away, and Phil Plantier hits it right back up the middle. You see Erickson getting down. That's the proper approach to Scott Erickson. Try to hit the ball right back through the box.
Did you think you guys had a chance in '64 when you were well down in August?
I mean, the further you get away from that year, I mean, it's easy to sit back and say, yeah, we always knew it. But you know what? We didn't always know it. As a matter of fact, with about 2.5 weeks to play, we didn't think we had a chance. We were 8.5 back going into September of that year.
One of the great races ever.
I think the Yankees fell to 14.5 back in late July in 1978. And of course, the blow that the Red Sox fans will never forget, the Bucky Dent 3-run homer off Mike Torres.
Etched in their minds forever. 1-0 the count to Wade Boggs. Fastball on the strike on the outside corner. Boggs with an opposite field base hit, knocking in his 29th run in the first inning. On deck is Tom Brunansky, runner at first base. Took something off the pitch. It's in for the strike. 1-2. Boggs with his lowest batting average of his career. In fact, in his first professional season in Elmira, hit .263. He came into the game hitting .267. Otherwise, he's been on .300 or better. Lead at first by Plantier. And there's a line drive, snared by Gagne. The throw to first, not in time. Greg Gagne from Fall River, Massachusetts, who made a terrific play last night to get a force play with the bases loaded, makes a sterling play to rob Boggs of a base hit here.
One of the more unheralded Minnesota Twins makes a, boy, that is a fine play by Gagne, and good base running by Phil Plantier getting back to first base. A lot of guys would be picked off on a play like that because Plantier's thinking third the minute that ball's hit.
So with 2 down, Tom Brunansky with a count, ball 1 to him. He struck out his first time up. Went from the Twins to the Cardinals to Boston. Ground ball into the hole. There is Gagne with a slight hesitation, but he gets the force to retire the side with a great defensive play in the inning. And we'll return to the Metrodome in Minneapolis after this message and a word from your local station. For the Minnesota Twins.
A great play that Gagne made in the top of the third. A shortstop has an advantage when a left-handed batter hits a ball to his left because the ball's going to tail back to him. And Gagne knew that. Fine play by Greg Gagne.
He's hitting .258, leads the team in sacrifice hits. He's one of those people that you'll never hear talked about when you mention the Twins' success, but he and Leyes have really sealed off the left side of that infield. Popped up, short right field. Reed is backing up, and he makes the catch. In shallow right, Gagney's retired, one going in the third.
There has been so much talked about and mentioned about Kirby Puckett's contract and whether Andy MacPhail and Carl Pohlad will be able to sign Kirby. What about Greg Gagney? He is equally important to sign. Of course, Kirby Puckett, a franchise player. Don't sign Kirby, it'd be much like buying the museum and getting rid of all the Monets.
Can't see it happening, huh? Not signing that.
I don't think so. And Gagney's really in the same boat. You've got to solidify your ball club by sealing up the middle. You mentioned sealing up the left side. Well, Gagney at short and Puckett in center, vital for the Twins to sign them if they're to continue to have the success they've had over the last 5 years.
Knobloch fly to right his first time up. Fouls it out of play, 1-1. Knobloch, 64 runs scored, is second. Kirby Puckett tied with him. And there's Shane Mack as well, and that's no surprise when you look at the team that has scored the most runs in the American League. 1-1 to Knobloch with one away here in the Minnesota third inning. Roger Clemens has given up one hit, an infield hit, and that's fouled at the plate. And you might get the impression that Chuck Knobloch was not happy with the results of that pitch. I got that impression.
I did too.
But men will be men. Something like that. On deck is Jeff Rabelais. Field plays Knobloch to pull, and there's a ground ball right at Naring. Knobloch is retired, and there's two away. And Tim, you made a good point about the free agents, and Puckett, of course, is the star. People always want to sign the big stars, but I think ultimately their success is based on signing for a lot less money, obviously, than the big superstars, the people like Gagney, who are the glue on ball clubs that make the plays so that the big guys can drive in the runs.
That's right. Key position, shortstop, catching. You don't have a good catcher and a good shortstop, it's tough to win. Of course, Puckett is so popular in this state. And there's Kirby right there. A lot of it has to have with job satisfaction. I think Kirby Puckett will definitely sign with the Minnesota Twins. I think the negotiations have gone very respectfully from both sides. And I think Kirby Puckett could probably get more money with another ball club. I think he'll accept less money to stay in Minnesota, just like Kent Herbeck did 2 years ago.
He wants to be here. The Twins want him here. And usually when that happens, the guy's here. And the fans, too. You're right.
How much money can you spend? I mean, a $28 million contract. We saw Greg Maddux turning down that money. Look at 3 years ago, Kirby Puckett, the first $3 million player, and now he's 64th. 64th.
Well, you know, people are maybe angry at Carl Pohlad, the Twins owner, but he did make Kirby Puckett the highest paid player in the big leagues when he did sign that $3 million contract.
Right.
So it's not like Carl Pohlad doesn't want to spend money to keep this great star here. He does. They just have to reach an agreement. But I agree with you. This is a match made in heaven in this town. Fouled away by Rabelais, and the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes to the rookie third baseman. 18th highest payroll, and when you look at the market that the Minnesota Twins play in, there's testimony right there. But look at Cincinnati and Pittsburgh and Minnesota. They're at the top. Fastball, and see you later. Rabelais is out on strikes. The second strikeout for Clemens. A 1-2-3 inning, and we've completed 3 at the Metrodome with the Red Sox in front.
This game summary is sponsored by Budweiser.
That's the 1 run for the Red Sox in the first inning. Wade Boggs scoring Hatcher, and you'll notice both Clemens and Erickson have thrown an inordinate amount of pitches in the first 3 innings, Tim.
Understandable for a guy like Roger Clemens because he's a strikeout pitcher, but Erickson a contact pitcher. But Erickson with no complete games this year. Probably one of the reasons.
Bob Zupsik Jody Reed and Mo Vaughn to face Erickson here in the 4th inning. Zubcic had college football offers at some pretty mighty schools, Pitt and Penn State, that he turned down.
He has said that after seeing those little blurbs of the NFL and seeing those pops, you know, when they
yeah, not like the pop in the mitt.
That's right. He says he made the right choice choosing baseball. Much rather hear the sound off the bat than sounds against the body.
Erickson is ahead of Bob Zubcic. 2 strikes here. Ball and 2 strikes. Zubcic been just about the everyday left fielder now that Billy Hatcher's come aboard, and Hatcher the center fielder. Spots held by Greenwell and Burks before they got hurt. Breaking ball, they appeal, and he went around. Larry McCoy says that Zubcic swung, and that will be the 3rd strikeout of the game by Scott Erickson, 1 away in the 4th.
I think the stronger hitters have a very difficult time stopping their bats. You see very few check swings through the strike zone with guys with not a lot of power, but guys like Zubcic, who's big and strong, once he starts the bat, it's very difficult to hold up, but he clearly went around there.
Atlanta leading Houston 2-0. Braves riding a 7-game winning streak. Jody Reed fouls off the first pitch for a strike, and it's going to be interesting out in the National League West, Tim, with Reggie Sanders, you know, on the disabled list with a terrifying injury, really, when you look at the puncture.
Tom Browning out.
And Chris Sabo now with ankle problems. He may need surgery on that right ankle after the season. He's going to play through it. He's a gamer, but he's not going to be 100%. Fastball and a strike to Reed, 0-2. Right now, the Reds' lead has been cut to 1 over Atlanta. And other clubs do have a chance, but those 2 teams look awfully strong.
Last year, the Atlanta Braves 9.5 back at the All-Star break, chasing the Dodgers then.
Strike 3, and Reed goes down. That's the best fastball that we've seen Erickson throw, and that's his 4th strikeout of the game.
That's a cross-seamer. This is a little riding fastball, similar to the type that Clemens throws. Jody Reed rarely strikes out, waving at the high heater.
Brings up Mo Vaughn with 2 down. Erickson has not had a 1-2-3 inning yet in this game, and the count is 1-0 to Mo. One of those Seton Hall collegians who have gone on to play in the big leagues. Craig Biggio of the Houston Astros.
Kevin Morton went there the same time Mo Vaughn. He's now at Pawtucket, the AAA affiliate of the Red Sox.
Had a pretty good basketball team the last 5 years under P.J. Carlesimo as well. 2-0 the count to Mo Vaughn. And a high fly ball hit to right field. Larkin is there, should make the play, and Erickson has his first 1-2-3 inning. We're in the middle of the 4th inning. Erickson and Clemens, a 1-0 game.
CBS Sports presents Major League Baseball. Today's game is brought to you by Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. Clear Ultra, you can't buy a better baseball card. And by Subway sandwiches and salads for today's healthy lifestyles.
Dick Stockton and Tim McCarver, 1-0 Boston as we move to the 4th inning. Bottom of the 4th. Kirby Puckett will lead off for the Minnesota Twins. You know, the Twins have a terrific record in day games, 22-6, and that's especially interesting considering that that's the time that Tom Kelly rests his regulars and he goes with his reserves, but he will not rest Kirby Puckett. He says, I cannot sit him down at home. I'll get shot if I do that. In fact, I even get letters when I try to sit him down on the road in a day game. That's the kind of following. People come here and they want to see Kirby.
And regardless of how much he is hitting, how well he is hitting, he's always out to take extra batting practice 3-4 times a week, symbolizing the work ethic of this Minnesota Twin ball club.
Takes ball 1. Kirby Puckett reached in the 1st inning when he was nicked on the hand by a Clemens pitch.
Kirby, the youngest of 9 children growing up, he wanted to be a policeman.
He loves the game. In fact, you know, having covered the NBA for 10 years, I think that Kirby Puckett most resembles the spirit and verve and happiness of Magic Johnson. side, fielded by Jody Reed, and Puckett's retired. One gone in the 4th inning.
Take a look at our Around the Horn. Nolan Ryan, after dropping his first 3 decisions, has won his last 4 starts. So don't be shoveling the dirt over Nolan quite yet. Juan Guzman, look at that. Over the last 1.5 years, 18-3. And Greg Maddux, we mentioned his contract offer. The Cubs offered $28 million. It was turned down by Greg Maddux, who incidentally won last night's game against Pittsburgh for Chicago.
I can understand that. I've turned down a $28 million contract myself recently, and
it's a daily happening for us, right?
You know, you have to do what you have to do.
Hey.
I wish. Kent Hrbek fly to center his first time up. The count is 1-0. Fouls it off. Hrbek is batting just under 300, 298, and the last time he hit 300 for the Twins was in 1988, the year after they won the World Championship.
Dick, we talked about job satisfaction. I think more free agents are going to find that. They're seeing the problems that Darryl Strawberry, Eric Davis are having in towns like Los Angeles. Bobby Bonilla having a tough time in New York. And I think more of them are going to say, I might as well sign with the ball club with which I signed initially, because there's more job satisfaction. I can be happier here for less money.
Not the case, though, for Barry Bonds, apparently.
No, that's right.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Kent Hrbek. One of 3 left-handed batters in the lineup against Roger Clemens today, and a pop fly hit down the left field line in foul territory and out of play. Hrbek and Bush left-handed hitters, and Larkin a switch hitter. And the count remains 2-2.
Ken Hrbek handling that bat like one would do a willow. 20 home runs in 8 consecutive years. He has 10 this year, but look how he puts the knob in the middle of his right hand. Does that to get more of a whipping effect. He is a dead pull hitter.
And a half swing roller to Boggs at third base. Plenty of time with Hrbek, not with a world of speed, and there are 2 ground balls, 2 outs here in the Minnesota 4th inning. At the conclusion of today's game, Tim and I will select the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game. Chevrolet will donate $1,000 in the player's behalf to the Special Olympics. Ken Griffey was the most valuable player of the All-Star game last week. Kind of sewed it up early, didn't he?
He certainly did. 3 hits his first 3 times up. Singled, homered, doubled. What a player. He homered last night from number 16. Seattle beat Toronto.
Shane Mack, the hitter. Fastball is a bit up. Mack was safe on an infield hit, the only hit given up by Roger Clemens thus far. It was a chopper, and there was no way Naring was going to get the ball and beat Mack. Good fastball in on the fist, fouled off by Mack, and it's 1-1. Last year, the Minnesota Twins got off to a slow start. They wanted to change that this year, but they couldn't. They lost 16 of their first 28 games, but they did not panic. They held in there, and a lot of people say that this is a better Minnesota club for one reason in particular: a deeper starting pitching staff. Hitting's always been there. Fouled off the mask of Pena, and the count 2-2. And a bullpen. Tom Edens became an effective long man for Aguilera. Kruger, a great acquisition, not to mention John Smiley.
It used to be that long relievers used to go to the bullpen as starting pitchers that were having problems. You'd go down there to straighten out a problem. That's not so anymore. The value of middle relief can't be overestimated, particularly with a guy like Tom Kelly, who uses left-handers in particular to get 1 or 2 hitters out.
2 down, nobody on. The 2-2 pitch is fouled away, and of course Exhibit A would have to be Scott Bankhead of the Cincinnati Reds, and what he has done to allow them to come from behind to keep things in the opposition quiet for the bullpen.
That's one of the toughest things about hitting now. The second, third, and fourth times up, you're apt to see a different pitcher. Not as many complete games, more relievers in the middle innings, more specialists.
There's a fastball, and Clemens gets Mack. 1-2-3 inning. He has retired 9 in a row, and we go down to the 5th inning. Defense that the Minnesota Twins have had over the years, they have it now, and they had it with Jim Cott, who won 11 of his 16 Gold Gloves with the Minnesota Twins. Of course, Jim, normally my partner, not here today because he is at the wedding of his daughter Jill, Mrs. Peter Candle, and in New Jersey. Huh?
And Jim will be giving away his daughter, and he's going from Gold Gloves to Kid Gloves this afternoon. How nice.
First pitch, ground ball. Tim Naring is retired. Gagne on the play, and there's one away. So we wish Jim well today. Of course, you and Jim have been close friends, and you've been there when he's needed you over the years.
Yes,
right?
I have. Teammates with the Philadelphia Phillies back in '76, '7, '8. Won 3 divisional titles with the likes of Mike Schmidt and Greg Luzinski, Larry Bowa at short, Steve Carlton having all those great years, Jim Lonborg with the Phillies then. Kitty, the opening day pitcher with the Phillies, 1976, as a matter of fact.
Tony Pena takes ball 1. He lined out to Kirby Puckett in center field his first time up. 1 out. The Red Sox lead 1-0 here in the top of the 5th inning. Another slapper to the left side. Reveille with the play. Retires Pena. 2 away in the 5th inning. 1 run scored in the game, that by the Red Sox in the opening inning. Billy Hatcher reached second on a double off the glove of Ken Herbeck and scored on Wade Boggs, opposite field. Looper. And that's been the only run. Billy Hatcher up for the 3rd time. He has scored the run, of course. Ground ball right side and gloved nicely by Knobloch. 4-pitch inning for Scott Erickson as he has retired the Red Sox in order for the 2nd straight inning. We're halfway through. 1-0 Boston. Jobs done by Jim Leyland, Felipe Alou, and Joe Torre in that tight race.
And Joe Torre, his team 4.5 games back. Felipe Alou, the interim manager, they thought, but he's done so well they have to keep him in Montreal at the end of the season. And Jim Leyland, one of the best managers around. Pittsburgh having that hot streak early, that's the reason they're 4 games up, because there has been parity in the National League East since April.
Randy Bush leading off, reached on a force play, takes a strike. Roger Clemens has retired 9 batters, has allowed only 1 hit and 2 base runners in the game. Puckett was hit by a pitch, and Mack safe on an infield hit and a soft liner right into the glove of Jody Reed, and there's 1 gone here in the 5th inning. Want to remind you, the Senior Open Golf coming up next. George Archer with a 1-stroke lead over Kermit Zarley. Coming you live from, and coming to you even, from Aurora, Illinois. Some of the tour's biggest names are there. Chichi Rodriguez, Arnold Palmer, Jim, don't call me Bucky Dent, you know, and all those guys. Gene Larkin, the batter, and the count is 2 balls and no strikes. Larkin took a called 3rd strike his first time up.
Game-winning RBI no longer an official category, but Gene Larkin with probably the most important game-winning RBI last year at single in Game 7 of the series to win it. The outfield and infield drawn in. It's funny, in his last 177 games, he has not had a game-winning RBI, stretching back to August of 1989.
But the one he had in postseason, that's all you need.
Not many, but they're all big ones.
Here's a looper hit into center field. Getting a late start is Hatcher, and he fields it on a hop. And the Minnesota Twins have a man on, only the second hit off of Roger Clemens. With one out, Hatcher fooled by that looping fly ball, delayed coming in.
Especially in this ballpark, keep in mind that Billy Hatcher, this is only his third game in this park. And with that white ceiling, almost every visiting team has trouble with the ceiling. As a matter of fact, the Boston Red Sox worked out here Thursday afternoon, and for 20 minutes they took routine pop flies to get used to the ceiling again.
That was a big story last year, of course, when the Toronto Blue Jays played the Twins in the LCS, and then the Atlanta Braves had to deal with it in the World Series. Lenny Webster offers it the first pitch and lifts it in the air to right field. Brunansky in shallow right makes the catch, and there are two down. Larkin goes back to first base. Getting back to Larkin, you know, people have also talked about his wearing number 9. You know, not many players who are not pure regulars on a club get to wear a glorious number like 9, as Larkin does.
If he played for the Red Sox, he could.
Probably not. Probably not. Greg Gagne, Fall River, now living in Rehoboth, Massachusetts. Paliarulo and Gagne are on the left side of the infield. They've got a New England left side of that infield. Gagne popped up to Jody Reed in shallow right his first time up. Fastball up and in. Roger Clemens, 0-3 in his last 6 starts, matching his longest winless string of his career, trying to end it all today against a tough ball club. Sox lead 1-0. That's in there, 1-1. Last victory for Roger Clemens here at the Metrodome was in July of 1989. Tim mentioned 8-0 in his first 9 starts against the Twins, but only 4-4 since then. There's a slider missing away, and it's 2-1. The Rocket, what did last week were all Red Sox? Didn't wear the stirrup style that the Red Sox normally wear. One pitch, breaking ball, and it misses again, and it's 3-1. Tom Glavine, will he get another shutout? Philosophical about the All-Star game experience, I'm sure.
Oh, you have to be when you have as bad an outing as Tom did. The American League scoring 4 runs in the first inning against Glavine. And Bobby Cox had to lift Tommy in the second inning of that game, and that's tough to do when he's one of yours, and you're going to need him for the second half.
Glavine said it didn't affect my season record. There's the lead by Larkin with 2 down. 3-1 to Gagne. He just blew that right by him. That was a vintage Roger Clemens fastball.
Well, when a guy like Clemens falls behind, I mean, he can just overpower you even when you're looking for it. You can't catch up to it, and that was the case then with Gagne.
Interesting that Peña's gone to the mound every time today that Clemens has fallen behind 3-0 and 3-1. There goes the runner, and the pitch is hit deep to center field. Hatcher is going back, has plenty of room to make the catch to retire the side, but Gagne hit that well. The Red Sox get a hit and leave 1, and will return to the Metrodome in Minneapolis after this message and a word from your local station. Red Sox with 1 run, 3 hits, no errors. The Twins, no runs, 2 hits, and 1 error. The Boston 6th inning, Phil Plantier, Wade Boggs, and Tom Brunansky against Scott Erickson. 1-0 the count to Plantier, 1 for 2, singled to center field. Let up pitch missing outside, and it's 2-0. Left-handed batters are hitting .256 against Erickson. Righties are .293. There's a line drive to right field, and that'll drop in front of Larkin for a base hit. So Plantier has 2 of the 4 Red Sox hits, and for the third time in the game, the Red Sox have the leadoff man on.
When you hit from as low a crouch as Plantier does, the one temptation that you try to avoid is coming up first and then out. But you can see that right foot moving forward. Good swing. Hit it hard. Second hit of the day for Plantier. But most guys in a crouch, they have that temptation of coming up and then out instead of just out.
Wade Boggs with a call strike was robbed of a hit last time up on a sparkling play off a line drive by Greg Gagne. Boggs has driven in the only run of the game with a first inning base hit. Red Sox trying to get an insurance run for Roger Clemens. That pitch in the dirt stopped nicely by Webster. Boggs has struggled in a couple of these months, bad as it's been in his career.
253 in April, the 240 in May, the lowest months of his career, as a matter of fact.
There's a liner to center field. Puckett is there to make the catch. Plantier went halfway and goes back to first base. Boggs hit it solidly, but right to Puckett, and there is one away. Boggs, by the way, is going to be fitted for glasses and will be sporting spectacles starting next week.
Had his eyes examined last week, and weakness in his right eye, and either Monday or Tuesday he will be fitted for glasses.
A new look for Wade Boggs, other than the question as to whether he shaves off the mustache or not now. There's Wade. Strike one to Tom Brunansky. Bruno is 0 for 2, struck out his first time up against Scott Erickson. Fouled off the plate. 0-2. That's Phil Plantier, who led off with his second hit of the game here in the 6th inning. The Red Sox clinging to a 1-0 lead. They have dropped 12 of their last 13 games on the road and have lost the first 2 games of this series to the Twins. But in the last few games, Tom Brunansky seems to get the home run swing back, judging by those numbers. Lays off the pitch up, 1-2.
Tom had the home run swing here for the Minnesota Twins in 1987, a member of the world champion Twins in Tom Kelly's first year.
Took something off the pitch, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. You look at the 3, 4, and 5 spots in the Red Sox batting order, and well below the American League average in all of those spots. Of course, again, we must emphasize they're missing Greenwell, they're missing Quintana, and they're missing Burks. Some of the reasons why. Full count now to Brunansky, 3-2.
To give you an idea how bad that is, the Minnesota Twins with a 302 average for their middle 3 guys. And that's the best in the majors.
And that's a team that has had to suffer through very few injuries this year. Runner goes on 3-2, and it's fouled off on the breaking pitch. And a nice grab by former infielder Don Zimmer.
Attaboy, Popeye.
He was quite an infielder. Remember, he was talking about when he broke in with the Dodgers, and he was a minor leaguer, and he says, I went down to Vero Beach, and there were like 4 different clubs who were practicing, and that wasn't even the major league team, and every shortstop looked better than the next. Goes the runner again, and it's fouled off. The Red Sox trying to start the runner, Plantier, with 1 out. And he says they would send all these different teams out there and all these different great shortstops, and none of them were named Reese. He hadn't gone out there yet.
That was at a time when the Dodgers and Cardinals had 25, 26 teams in the minor leagues. Now, if you look at a minor league organizational chart, you'll see 4, 5, 6 teams.
Runner goes, but the pitch taken for ball 4. Yeah, a lot fewer leagues now and a fewer field to choose from. Well, the Red Sox have 2 men on for the first time since the first inning. Plantier's on second, and that walk by Erickson was his second of the game. And an opportunity here for Bob Zubcic, who has responded lately at the plate. Hitless today, but Zupsik hitting .338 on the season. Wings and misses on a good hard slider by Erickson. Zupsik is hitting .400 this month, and that's the 4th best in the American League. So the Red Sox have a lot to be pleased about, despite their lack of punch with what this rookie's done.
.400 this month, 4th best in the AL, and his 4th straight year with Butch Hobson as his manager. He played for him 3 straight years in the minors.
Ground ball into the hole. Gagne gloves it. Off balance throw to second just in time. Brunansky upset at that call, but he's erased, and another fine play by Greg Gagne. Going to third base is Plantier, and Zupsik is safe at first.
I did not think Gagne had a chance to get Brunansky at second base, but watch this athletic play, throwing off his back foot, strong throw. Well, that was some play again by Greg Gagne.
He made one last night, and he has made 2 superb plays in the field this afternoon. But the Red Sox, with 2 men out now, have runners at first and third, and Jody Reed, the hitter. He's 0 for 1 with a base on ball. Struck out his last time. Fastball, and it's 0-1 to him. Red Sox leading 1-0. They scored in the first inning. And this is the first time that the Red Sox have had a man to third base. Hatcher had doubled and scored on Boggs' single in the first.
Whenever you see Lenny Webster not look in the dugout, you know that he is signaling to Erickson to throw over there or step off. Lenny Webster looking at Tom Kelly. Kelly gives him pitch outs. And he will also call for the pitcher to throw over there, too.
Let's see if we can pick this up. Webster got the sign from Kelly. Slider, and he did not go around. Reed checked his swing effectively, and it's 2 balls and a strike.
What is TK telling LW? Twice to the cap. See if he throws over this time.
Breaking ball taken for a strike, and the count to Reed is 2-2. We're in the 6th inning here at the Metrodome. Scott Erickson, who has gotten off to a slow start, back in the rotation, trying to raise his record to 7-6. The Red Sox lead 1-0. First and third, and 2 out, and 2-2 the count to Reed. There goes the runner from first, and it's fouled back.
I think you saw that nod by Tom Kelly, and what he was telling Lenny Webster is make sure you know what to do if the runner runs. It's a 2-2 count on the batter. Are you going to throw through? Are you going to throw it back to the pitcher? Are you going to go right to third? Now he wants to do it again. So Lenny Webster will look over there.
Or a fake to second and try to get the man off third.
Runners at first and third, and now he wants to go out and make sure that everybody knows their responsibilities if the runner runs. And Webster flashing the signs to the middle infielders and to the corners.
I would say that Knobloch would be the man to cover, considering how Gagne is playing deep into the hole.
Yep.
Slider is outside, and the count is full 3-2, and it's academic now because Zupsik will be off on the pitch from first, as will Plantier, with the count 3-2 and 2 down. Jody Reed trying to give the Red Sox an insurance run. Erickson trying to close the door. There go the runners. Breaking ball is in there for strike 3 to retire the side. And the Red Sox leave the runners at the corners. It is still 1-0 Boston in the middle of the 6th. No surprise, we have an outstanding pitcher's duel between Roger Clemens and Scott Erickson. That first inning run by the Red Sox has stood up thus far. But let's see what the Twins do against the Rocket here in the bottom of the 6th inning when they present the top of their order. Chuck Knobloch, Jeff Rabelais, and Kirby Puckett against the Rocket. Knobloch is 0 for 2. That's so he knows what shoes to put on. Ball 1 outside.
Well, he had Rocket written on the left one, but not on the right one, did he? He had it on the instep seat. Now I don't think he has it on the instep.
You know, that's a good point.
Yeah, he may have the wrong shoes on there.
I would think if you're going to put your name on a shoe, it would be on both shoes.
Yeah, I would think that.
And you know he's not going to put it on 2 left shoes. I mean, you know that's not going to happen, right?
No.
2 hits and 3 strikeouts through 5 innings for Clemens. Here's the 2-0 pitch. It's in there. 2-1 to Knobloch. So the top 4 hitters in the Minnesota batting order have gone hitless thus far today, and only 1 base runner. That would have hit batsman Kirby Puckett in the 1st inning. Twins have not been able to get a runner past first base against Roger. Here is the 2-1. In there. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Clemens' last victory, as Tim pointed out early on, back to June 6th when he pitched 8 innings in a 5-1 victory over the Cleveland. Clemens has not won since then. Looking for his 10th win of the year. 3 to Knobloch. 3 of the top 5 teammates. Johnny Bench and Pete Rose for the Reds in '74, and Dom DiMaggio and Vern Stevens for the Red Sox in 1950. Twins trying to become the 3rd. And strike 3, and Knobloch is out of there on a good slider. That is the 4th strikeout for Clemens, and there's 1 gone for the Twins in the 6th.
I think Chuck can change his name to Knob-locked, past tense, because that's what happens. Fastball. Knob. Clemens can. Amazing how strong you have to be to do that over 8, 9.
Jeff Rabelais takes a strike. The first 2 times that Rabelais came up against Clemens, he threw him fastballs in tight, moved him away from the plate. This is hard hit, 1 hopper to Tim Naring, and Rabelais is retired, and there are 2 gone here in the 6th inning. Kirby Puckett. Boy, with the pressure of free agency and all the contract talks, Tom Kelly, he's having more fun playing baseball this year than he's.
And that's saying something also.
Because he's always had fun.
That's right.
They're clear. Fastball, 1 hopper back to Clemens, and a 1-2-3 inning, and after 6 innings, the Red Sox with a run, 4 hits and no errors. Minnesota 0-2-1.
CBS Baseball today, reminding you to do it for those who love you. Pringles, so fresh, can't you? By Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee.
Bottom 3rd of the Sox batting order facing Scott Erickson here in the 7th inning. Nothing. Red Sox wins. Minnesota's made the only error in the ball game. Mo Vaughn has the air twice today. His first Red Sox this year. Last season, and 2 earned. Up to in the 3rd. Pace with that, with his work. The count of all. This is inside.
Is watch the way a pitcher is set and the pitcher he is. Scott Erickson can't be a power pitcher. His hand. And the reason for that is you leg Erickson when he takes his wind. Gotta be not throw hard. So you don't have hand control, and he missed.
Barry Wayne is warming up in the Minnesota bullpen. Good set today. Not like Tom Eames. Run square. On with one. Number two. The numbers of the year. Worth is much. Butch. If you catch your off. Still spring. Important. And they get Red Sox having trouble. The Twins to Butch Hobson. The quarter.
Vaughn. And the reason second base. Camden Young. Sure. That's possibly thanks to now you're young. He's a special. And perfectly. Guys like and respect.
who's Roger Clemens. Exhibited. Player. Is there you can't. Everybody has to know that. They know that plays. Or be their Chuck Knobloch said, hey, I know you're mad about it, but don't mess to press the button. It could be an Torrey's a better manager for the Boston. Second chance. Did. Hits against Roger. Got it. Has hit so to 20 in his games in San Diego. 4 has done against Roger Clemens face to face. Chili Davis, regular third baseman. Brian Harper, Pedro Munoz, Jody Reed throws out Mack, and Roger Clemens looks tough.
For the Twins since the second inning, that a broke in runner at second base in this ball game against the Rocket.
Trying to make the star break. 6-game winless string. Up his 10. Show for 2. Getting a chance today as the designated hitter for the Twins. Good fast. Fired 17 of the last 18. Just lost. 7th inning of a 1-0 Red Sox game. Rolled it to Reed, and Roger has his second straight 1-2. He's had a few of them tonight, and after 7 innings of nothing Boston. Well, looks like a blowout in the Rolaids relief break here with Dennis Eckersley with 30 saves, 94 points. Rick Aguilera of the Twins second. We could be seeing him today. Norm Charlton of the Reds and Lee Smith of the Cardinals all knotted up in points on the National League side. Bottom third of the order against Roger Clemens, who has retired 18 of his last 19. Gene Larkin singled his last time up. Switch hitter. He's hitting .273 as a left-handed batter. More effective from that side of the plate, and he takes ball 1. Larkin will be followed by Lenny Webster and Greg Gagne. We might see a pinch hitter perhaps, although Webster is swinging a bat on the on-deck circle. Time called. Paying to the mound.
Well, Tom Kelly certainly has an arsenal of pinch hitters sitting on the bench. A 300 batter, Brian Harper, Pedro Munoz with better power than Harper. Those are two that come to mind. Twins pinch hitters batting .324, the best in the majors so far this year, after leading the majors in pinch hitting last year.
Chili Davis also waiting in the wings, a switch hitter. There's the lineup card.
Brewitt, the only left-handed batter on the bench.
There's a drive hit to right field, but Brunansky goes back and makes the catch. Well hit by Larkin. That's one of the hardest hit balls by the Twins all day.
Well, it was down in the strike zone. We mentioned earlier that with Roger Clemens, you try to push the ball down, keep it away from the letters.
And we are going to see a pinch hitter. Brian Harper will come up and bat for Lenny Webster.
Here you see that is right in a sweet spot, in a spot that Clemens tries to stay away from, especially the left-handers. It was hit well, but he didn't get up under it enough, and Brunansky makes the rather routine play, but it was hit hard.
So Brian Harper, who is 1 for 4 with an RBI as a pinch hitter this year, hitting .300 on the season with 4 homers and 42 runs batted in, will be batting for Lenny Webster. Takes low ball 1, and Harper will go in and put on the equipment in the 9th inning behind the plate. And he too has had Roger Clemens' number, although today no one has had Roger Clemens' number.
Depends on when you face him, whether you have a good career average against him.
1 out, nobody on. A fly ball hit to left center field. Zupsik is there, makes the catch, and there are 2 down. Last year, when Scott Erickson won his 20 games, he had terrific run support of nearly 6 runs a game by Minnesota. So far this year, the Twins have only scored an average of some 3.5 runs for Erickson, and that makes a difference. And today, nothing. There's Scott, who's doing his role, looking for some batting support. Here's Greg Gagne with 2 out here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
He just shook his head. He knew last year he got 3.5 runs a game. Or this year that he's only had that with 6 runs a game last year.
That's pretty good support.
And it's not unusual to see Erickson in the dugout all by himself. They said it is the day of death when he pitches, and usually they leave him alone. He goes to the corner and stays there.
Well, we met him. We were on the way out of the Twins clubhouse. He was coming in, and he had the black sweatpants, the black shirt, as is his custom.
There's John Smiley right next to him. Maybe the only guy who can get close to him is the guy that the Twins traded for. Traded for Smiley. There's John.
Somebody new this year. 1 ball and 1 strike with 2 outs. There's a strike. 1 and 2 now to Gagne. Roger Clemens in control, trying to win his first game since June the 6th. And the Twins just trying to get somebody on base. They've had only 3 base runners today. Well hit to center field. Coming over is Hatcher, and a 1-2-3 inning for Roger Clemens. He has retired 11 in a row. We go to the top of the 9th inning. That 1 run in the first inning hanging in. Coming into this action, Oakland is amazing that they've hung in there with all the players they've had injured.
Oakland, I think, with a bit of resolve, more resolve than they had last year. When you get an older group of guys together and they fail 1 year after having the success that Oakland had, they come back, and I think that is in large part credit to Tony La Russa and his staff this year. They have done a terrific job.
With all those injuries, the fact they're only 3 back is a great testament.
I mean, they had Kelly Downs starting on Thursday night. Kelly Downs won his first ball game. Kelly Downs leaving the San Francisco Giants earlier, released from the Giants, starting for Oakland, and has pitched well.
Zupsik has to walk off that foul off of his left shin, even though he has the protection on it.
When a guy throwing as hard and as heavy as Erickson has been throwing. It goes right through that half shin guard.
No balls and 2 strikes to Zupsik. 0 for 3 on the day, and the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Brian Harper, who pinch hit for Webster, now behind the plate here in the 9th inning, and there's a looper hit into center field. Might drop in, and it does. A base hit for Zupsik. And for the Red Sox, that's their 5th hit of the ball game. They get the leadoff man on. They've had a lot of that today, and only 1 run come crossing the plate down in the 1st inning.
That's the 5th time in this ball game they've had the leadoff runner on. The 1st, the 2nd. They did it in the 6th inning, the 7th inning, and now here in the 9th.
Well, Jody Reed, and if you want to look at a sacrifice situation, made to order with Reed at the plate and Mo Vaughn on deck. The Twins have Edens and Wayne. Both have been up early in this game, and they're throwing again in the bullpen. There's the bunt foul on the screen, and Reed is upset with himself the way he handled that.
Well, the only bad thing about a bunt in this situation is, for the most part, you're bunting over for the lower part of the lineup. If you pinch hit for Tim Naring or Tony Pena, then you're taking out your defense. Roger Clemens has a shutout going. I don't think a bunt's a good play in this situation. You're liable to either walk Mo Vaughn or bring in the left-hander to pitch to him. You have to make too many changes for the bottom of the lineup, and by doing that, then you weaken your defense, perhaps.
That's true.
And the one thing you want right now is your best defense in the bottom of the 9th inning, because you have a 1-0 lead.
And they probably wouldn't walk Vaughn in a 1-0 game to begin with.
Right.
But you're right about that. Nonetheless, there's a sacrifice, a bunt, and a good one. Herbeck only play is to Knobloch covering. So the Red Sox have sacrificed successfully for the 2nd time in the game. 3-4 scoring. And Zupsik is in scoring position with 1 out.
One of the best explanations of a bunt that I've ever heard was to catch the ball with the bat. Make the bat become a glove, and that's really what Jody Reed did there. And he deadened that ball down the first baseline. It was an excellent bunt.
Especially on artificial turf.
It's tough to do.
Tom Kelly is out of the mound, and he looks like he's going to go with the left-hander. I would think Gary Wayne to pitch to Mo Vaughn, and here comes Wayne. So Scott Erickson, who has no complete games this season, although he did pitch 9 innings in a no decision against the Orioles, will leave the game right here with the Red Sox leading. Well, guess what? Gary Wayne is back out in the bullpen. You saw him trot in, but Ken Kaiser, the third base umpire, ruled that Tom Kelly did not make the signal to bring him in, so he's back out there, and Erickson is still on the mound.
That's right. Gary Wayne saw that Mo Vaughn was the batter. He assumed that he was going to be in there, and there he is. Gary Wayne looked like John Wayne then. He rode in and rode back.
Well, they're going to walk Vaughn intentionally. First base is open, and pitch to Tim Naring.
Yeah, I think Tom Kelly, what he's saying here is that we need Scott Erickson as our starter for the year, and we're going to give him every chance to win the game. It's not Scott Erickson's fault that Roger Clemens has a 1-run lead. Well, of course, it's his fault for giving up the 1 run in the first, but he has pitched very, very well, and I think Kelly's going to give him every chance to win this game.
So you're saying Wayne came in on his own?
Yeah, Wayne came in on his own. Correct.
Very embarrassing.
Well, it was for a time.
I still think he's embarrassed out there. He's trying to make up for it by throwing some warm-up pitches. Herm Winningham is going to come up and pinch hit for Tim Naring.
See, now you may get the pinch hitter, because Winningham, a pretty good low ball hitter. So Tom Kelly, by walking Vaughn, now you get the pinch hitter for Naring, and now he may bring in Gary Wayne. Or if to follow that Erickson thing, to have a lot of confidence in him, he's still throwing the ball exceptionally well. So he may just stay with Scott.
No move yet by Tom Kelly. So Winningham, who is 3 for 19 as a pinch hitter this year. Interestingly enough, the Red Sox pinch hitters have knocked in only 1 run all year. 1 RBI by their pinch hitting core. Runners at first and second. Way out ahead of that pitch. Strike 1 as Erickson took something off. So Zupsik is on at second base. Mo Vaughn, the runner at first, with 1 out here in the top of the 9th inning. The Red Sox with a 1-0 lead, looking for a little more breathing room for Roger Clemens. And a chopper, and it's going to be a foul ball. And the count is 2 strikes. If you want to look ahead to the 9th inning for the Minnesota Twins, it'll be the top of their order. Knobloch, Reveille, and Puckett, and I'm sure you'll see a pinch hitter for Reveille second up next inning. One out, 2 on, and 0-2 the count to Winningham, batting for Naring. Ball and 2 strikes to Winningham. Originally thought the Red Sox with Winningham would give them the kind of speed. Doesn't have that much speed. You know him, of course, from the National League. Hatcher may have more of it for the Red Sox. On the outside corner. And Winningham goes down, and Erickson responding to the confidence shown in him by manager Tom Kelly here.
It really is. And once again, Tom Kelly trying to keep Erickson in the game to give him every opportunity to get a W. Backdoor breaking ball right there to Herm Winningham. When a hitter sees that pitch, he anticipates it being inside. That's why you see a lot of left-handed batters frozen on that breaking ball on the outside corner.
So that brings up Tony Pena. 0 for 2 with a walk. 2 on and 2 out for the Red Sox. And a fastball grounded and gloved by Herbeck. He flips to Erickson for the out, and the Red Sox are retired. Erickson closes the door. 2 men are left. And the Twins will come up in the bottom of the 9th inning, needing a run to tie. Scott Erickson getting a big hand from the fans as he shut the door on the Red Sox, but his team still trails 1-0. As we go to the bottom of the 9th inning, the new shortstop for the Red Sox is Luis Rivera, replaces Tim Naring. And just in case, the Red Sox will have bullpen aces Jeff Reardon closest to the stands, and Tony Foss, the left-hander. And we got Knobloch leading off. Chili Davis is going to bat for Jeff Reveille. And then Kirby Puckett to follow. And Fosses is there. Perhaps to face Chili Davis, but he can be turned around. Minnesota Twins have made a habit of winning games in their last at-bat. Red Sox have had superb pitching this year. They're leading the American League in earned run average and not had hitting. That has stayed today. And the Twins have had good pitching, good defense. But Clemens has been the story.
You know what I think? I think that's window dressing to have Fosses and Reardon up right now. There is no way you're going to take Roger Clemens out of this game and allow the bullpen to cough it up for him. You remember we talked about his last 6 no decisions. He left the game 3 times.
And they did that in
with
Chicago with the
lead.
White Sox. And,
that's right.
And Reardon had his problem. Reardon has really had problems saving games for Clemens.
Really has.
Here's Knobloch batting against Clemens, who has allowed 2 hits, no walks, has struck out 4. Fastball 0-1. Tom Glavine with another shutout. That's 6 on the year for the amazing left-hander, now 14-3 on the season. And it's chopped to the shortstop, Rivera. 1 out in the 9th. They get the leadoff man, and a good man to get in Knobloch. He's been an outstanding base runner with 22 stolen bases, but he's been erased, and now Chili Davis is coming up to bat for Jeff Reveille.
This is a tough assignment for Chili. Chili, a good off-speed batter. He handles the curveball very effectively. And he's going to be facing a lot of heat right now. So you can look for a lot of foul balls back the other way off Chili Davis. I think that's what Tony Pena is telling Clemens now, that there's no way you're going to get beat giving an off-speed pitch to Chili Davis. If he hits the fastball out the other way, so be it. But all hard stuff. Davis, one of the most notorious off-speed hitters in baseball.
Davis, as a pinch hitter this year, is 4 for 9. He has a home run and 3 runs batted in, hitting .276 overall. Switch hitter batting .281 as a left-handed bat. Batting for Rabelais. We understand that Tom Glavine did not complete that game. Won by the Braves.
So a combined shutout for Glavine.
Fastball on the outside corner and a strike. 0-1 to Davis with Kirby Puckett on deck. Ball and a strike. Roger Clemens has 6 complete games and 3 shutouts so far this season. And 32 in his career. Missing outside, and it's 2-1 to Davis. Puckett on deck, and then Herbeck. Twins have won 22 of their last 27 games. The Red Sox have been mired in misery on the road, trying to change things today. Leading 1-0. And it's 3-1 to Davis. And if Davis gets on, or even if he doesn't get on, you'll hear a big roar for Kirby Puckett. Waiting for his chance. Fouls it out of play. Clemens has been behind to many of the Minnesota batters. 3-1 and 3-0, or 3-1, but has yet to walk a batter. And now the count is full.
And again, a power pitcher like him can afford to fall behind, because even if you're looking for the fastball, you can't turn it up enough to pull it. That's what happened to Davis on the 3-1 count.
Again.
Excuse me, Dick.
There have been only 10 1-0 games at the Metrodome in 11 seasons of play. That's very few. So 1-0 pitcher's duel are an extreme rarity in this ballpark. Here's a 3-2, and he's out of there. Fastball on the outside corner, and Davis is out on strikes. That's number 5 for Roger Clemens, and there are 2 down in the ninth.
See the reaction of Clemens. Ball looked outside. Davis thought it was outside. Clemens got a break. When you're around the strike zone and you don't walk any, great in the third, you have a tendency to get pitches like that. Roger Clemens is going to get the break when it comes as far as hitters and pitchers are concerned. Davis thought it was outside. It could have been. 5th strikeout for Clemens.
And it's left into the hands of Kirby Puckett, who is 0 for 2, hit by a pitch in the first inning. Red Sox. 2 out, nobody on in the bottom of the 9th inning, and here's Kirby Puckett. The last hope for Minnesota. Takes low. Kirby Puckett has never hit a home run against Roger Clemens. And both men know it. You can be sure. Drive down the right field line, twisting foul. Kirby will come back to the plate, pick up the bat with a count 1-1. The way it's been for the Red Sox, they've got to get a brilliantly pitched game to win. They just don't get the hitting support this year. But all they want to do is end that 2-game losing streak since the All-Star break has ended. Off the fist, out of play. And it's 1-2 now to Puckett. Roger Clemens, looking for his first victory since June the 6th, has not had a complete game in his last 10 starts.
He's pitched Puckett inside all afternoon. You mentioned Kirby hit by a pitch earlier. I'd look for him to go low and away with the slider here.
He's set up low and away. And a one-hopper back to Roger Clemens. And he's got the shutout, the complete game, and finally the victory. His first since June the 6th. And the Boston Red Sox have defeated the red-hot Minnesota Twins 1-0 on a brilliant two-hitter by Roger Clemens, his 4th shutout of the year.
What can you say about Clemens? Kirby Puckett, Chili Davis fouling the ball back the other way in the 9th inning. You talk about maintaining velocity through 9 innings. He did it today.
10th victory of the year for Roger Clemens. He's 10-6, and we'll be back to the Metrodome in just a moment.